I just want to let you know, before we move into today's episode, that I did get my tooth pulled earlier, so I sound like 50 Cent right now.
All good. Which tooth?
It was the upper right tooth. I don't know which tooth it would be. I just know it was up the upper right corner. It wasn't a wisdom tooth or anything like that.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, got the little 50 whistle. It's all good.
Hey, man, but I kind of like it better, personally.
Oh, my God.
That's just me.
It's because I'm not loud like I usually am. But, you know, it's like you got to have that energy when you do this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, as long as you didn't take too much pain medication, it's all good.
Oh, no, I'm good, man. I was able to drive home right after. They didn't put me to sleep or anything.
Oh, wow. All right.
So how's your day going?
Good. You know, same old out here, California. Where are you guys at?
We're in Norfolk, Virginia. Well, I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. He's Chesapeake, Virginia. But yeah, you can say Virginia.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Well, all good. Well, I'm sure I don't know what the weather is. It was cold here, man. It was like 65 degrees.
Oh man, it was like 30 here.
Yeah.
Woo. Woo-wee.
Yeah.
Bro, Virginia has that Virginia type weather, as we like to say, where it's like one day it could be 80 degrees and the next day it could be 30.
And that's why we stay sick over here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. That's that mid-south weather.
Yeah. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Right on.
But, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, man, you know, for our listeners, I know that a lot of us know you from, you know, voice acting, the things that you've done. But even before that, man, I mean, you got a catalog that's very vast.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been working since I was a kid, man. Started when I was a little kid, so.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the origin story. So tell everybody how you got into doing everything.
Okay, well, you want to know how specifically I got into, like, voice acting?
No, we'll get to that later on, but, like...
as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid.
Did your parents push you into acting, or, you know, how does that work?
Okay, well, here's how it worked with me. I came up in sort of an artistic household. My father was a musician. My mother was an actress. And I was around, you know, performers all my life. And I sort of got into it at school. I was in the school play. And then I started doing commercials very young. I mean, like, you know, I want to say 7 years old. I was doing like commercials for Kraft and stuff like that. And from there, I went into regular theatrical acting.
Good.
Yeah.
So I had checked out some of your stuff, you know, to prepare.
What did you check out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I checked out some of the music that you've done, and one of the songs that I had listened to earlier was "Something I Cannot Have."
Oh yeah. When I was a kid, I was signed to Quincy Jones. I did, you know, I'm sort of like the last person his last protege.
Oh, for real? That's awesome.
And we're not talking about, you're not even talking about QD3. You're talking about Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones.
Yeah, for sure. When I was a kid, I worked with him. I was signed to his record label, Quest Records. I was on his last record, which was called, I think the record was called From Q with Love.
Yep.
And the single was called Something I Cannot Have. And I actually recorded a record there at Quest that was on Warner Bros. At the time.
Nice.
But it never came out. It's somewhere, man. You know, somebody's got that record. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's somewhere in the vault.
Yeah.
And that's at a time where, you know, the music business is way different than it is, today. But what kind of year was this? Because, I mean, his son took over Quest Records in like 95, 96.
This was 2000. This was the year before I think they shut their doors. I
didn't think Quest was around in 2000.
No, 2000 I think was the last year.
Wow.
And they had a distribution deal with Warner Brothers, and then they switched to DreamWorks, and then DreamWorks was open for like, I don't know, like 6 months and they closed. And then his deal was with I think he had a deal with Interscope, but I wasn't with him at that point.
So, like, you know, with you singing and everything,
yeah,
I remember that you were on that episode of The Parenthood.
Oh yeah, man, with Drew Hill.
Drew Hill,
yeah.
Man, that's one of my
Classic
favorite R&B
episode.
Groups, bro. Like, how was it working with them up there?
They, you know, again, I was a teenager at that point. I was like, man, Drew Hill. And it was just cool. They you know, they kind of, you know, how you do a sitcom is just like a 4 or 5 day thing. So Monday you get there and you read the script.
Yeah.
And they, you know, the big stars, they don't show up till like the day before. So Monday you do the table read. Tuesday you do like a blocking run through with cameras, and then Wednesday they'll like retool everything, and then you skip a day, and Friday you shoot. So Drew Hill didn't show up till Friday, and you know this is at like the pinnacle of their fame, dude. And it was just like, they were all cool dudes. I remember Woody was the coolest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the guy's name? The Nokia. He was really cool.
Yeah, Nokia.
Yeah, those are the. He was like I think he was also like the business guy. You know what I'm saying? He like, I don't know if he did the music, but he made sure they got to the places on time. He was sort of like their little small Barry Gordy. They were all cool with me, man. Really good dudes.
That's cool. Like, so it's like also on that episode, it's like, you know, you played Malik, you were a singer.
Yeah.
Now, when you auditioned for that role, like, was that one of the, you know, requirements that they were looking for somebody who could sing, or?
No, it's a funny story because the originally that part was supposed to be a rapper. And I went in and auditioned for, I forgot who the casting director was. And they were like, hey, man, are you a rapper? And I was like, no, I'm a singer. And they liked me so much that they turned it into an R&B dude. And it kind of worked out because Drew Hill was on there, and they're R&B and I was R&B. And so it was easier to pretend we were friends back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But super fun. Robert Townsend was a really good dude. Got to work with Faison. You know, he's wild. He was wild even back then. Just really fun, man. Really fun.
It's just crazy, you know, because originally, when Banks had reached out to you, I didn't even know that you had been on The Parenthood. And Ken Michaels is a friend of the show that we've had on before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was on. He was in what was the show I just did on Netflix?
Cannon Busters.
Yeah, he's on Cannon Busters. Yeah.
Yeah, we were
cool dude.
Yeah, no, trust me, we're gonna get to that too.
Into all of that.
But he was, again, we had him on the podcast, man. We had a real great time with him, and still to this day,
super smart dude, man.
Yeah,
super intelligent, and dude, just so
humble and
nice, man. Like he still reaches out to us just to see how we're
sure.
doing and stuff like that. So,
all good.
But moving forward, something that I wanted to bring up, was Fat Albert.
Oh yeah.
Now, and of course, I mean, we're huge fans of Kenan Thompson. I actually just got done watching Kenan and Kel last night as I was laying in bed. And it's cool that Kenan's finally getting his just due as far as all of his success. But, and again, you could speak on whatever you want when it comes to Fat Albert or not. But what was it like working with Kenan Thompson? And then what kind of role did Bill Cosby have in your interaction?
Okay, so it's an interesting story. So I was hired to do, so I'm in the cartoon part. I do like so when they're in the cartoon in the beginning, I put like sort of like the bad guy of the gang that's trying to beat up the what do they call them, the junkyard gang, I guess.
Junkyard gang, yep.
Yeah, and we played this game Buck. So originally it was Forrest Whitaker who was gonna direct that movie, and it was gonna be way different than it turned out eventually becoming, because it sort of turned into like a kid-ish movie. But Forrest Whitaker's vision for it was sort of like it was going to be almost like retro, but more slick and cool. And so I did a session with him and some other actors, and I played that character, and they really liked me. And this is before Keenan was on, before anybody was on. I forgot the actor who was going to play Fat Albert. Okay, do you know, what is the name of the show? Ballers.
Yeah, I know Ballers.
Yeah. Okay, there's a guy who plays.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
The guy from 8 Mile.
The guy from 8 Mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was gonna play Fat Albert.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm mad. It's like as soon as you said that, we thought we pictured it.
Right. Yeah. It was that vibe, but I guess Bill Cosby and Forrest Whitaker had a what do they call it? Creative differences. So it went away. And then like 2 years later, they called me up. They were like, we still want you to play this part. And I got to work with Keenan, who he wasn't. Was this before Saturday Night Live? I think this was. No,
I think he was just starting off. He was
already on it, but he wasn't what he is now.
But he was a super cool dude. Like, you know, the only time that I really met him was at the table read. And then I did the sessions where we did the Junkyard Gang stuff. And he was a super cool dude. All those cats who played the Junkyard Gang, I forgot all the names, but really cool, really awesome actors, man.
Yeah, it was a star-studded cast.
Yeah, they had
Kyla Pratt. She was the main girl.
But what's his name?
Omarion.
Oh yeah, Omarion was in it. But that's not who I was thinking.
It was a lot.
Wasn't Houston in it? Marcus Houston?
Yeah, Marcus Houston was in it. Yep.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna
it was a lot of people in that movie.
The interwebs. Yeah, it was just a cool, really cool experience. It was Keenan, and then there was who was the dude? Alfonso. So funny, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And Keith Robinson was really cool. Just these are the cats I remember. But I never met or worked with Bill Cosby or saw him. He wasn't at the table read.
Gotcha.
He gave notes. I remember he had given notes, and I had to come back. Like, you know, usually when you do an animation session, you do like one, depending on how much animation there is, you do one session, and they make or send the, I think they probably did that in Korea. They send them and they do all the cell work, and then they come back for another session. So he did give notes, but there wasn't a lot of stuff that was different from the original session to the session after they had completed primary animation.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you know, going back to what you were saying about, like, you know, Forrest Whitaker originally directing the film, you know, it makes me feel like that this movie could have kind of been like Roll Bounce when you said that he wanted it to be like an old school vibe to it.
Yeah, he wanted it to be like a retro thing, and they came out of, it was the same story that came out of the TV, but it was like hipper than this movie. This movie was more geared toward, I think, like the tween,
like the you know, pretty much 90s kids for real.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, look at the cast they got.
Yeah.
And what he wanted to do is he wanted to also grab onto all the people who had a connection to like the original cartoon. Right. So he wanted to draw on which he, you know, was a part of that world. I think that's what drew him to it, is he wanted to like draw on the nostalgia and bring that into the world. Whereas I feel like the iteration that that eventually came out was a little bit more, they wanted to do like for a younger audience. They wanted to introduce Fat Albert to a new generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something else that I had saw that you had worked on, this is a movie that, you know, when I was younger, I always heard about it, but, you know, I never got a chance to watch it when it was on TV, and that was the Different Strokes movie.
Oh yeah, man! I played Dion. I forgot his last name, but he was like Gary Coleman's manager, sort of the dude that got him away from his parents, because I think that Gary Coleman's parents had sort of taken some of his money. Yep. Allegedly, I don't know, but that's what was in.
That was the story. That was the story that Gary Coleman always put out there.
Yeah, and I played the guy who was his friend and sort of was like, I'll be your manager, and took him away from his parents. And there was a big problem between him and his parents. And yeah, another fun movie.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, that's a movie, you know, Different Strokes. It was a popular show in the 80s and early 90s. And, you know, to say that you were able to work on something like that is cool. Was there anybody from the original cast that that did anything for the movie?
I got to meet Todd Bridges. I met Todd Bridges, yeah. But and nobody else. I don't know if Gary Coleman was alive at that point. He may have been alive.
I'm pretty sure he was alive.
He passed away like 07, 08. I think he passed away.
Yeah. So he was alive at that point. But, you know, it was one of those TV movie of the week steezes where it was like,
And the crazy, like, if you look at the title, it sounds serious, right?
After Different Strokes.
When the laughter stops. Like, this is for real.
There ain't no laughter.
Like, it may have been funny at home, but but recording was a different world. You know what I mean? Making it real dark and serious.
Well, it was basically his story, and I forgot who the actor who played his dad, but there was a cartoon in the 80s that was a black cartoon, Rickety Rocket. He was the dude from Rickety Rocket.
Bro,
Rickety Rocket or something.
I ain't never heard of that cartoon.
Old school. Yeah, that's
old school right there. I didn't watch a lot of old cartoons, but I've never heard of that one before.
I love old cartoons, man. Well, you know, I have to. I study because, you know, I might want to grab a voice. You know, I might want to grab. I like that voice. I'll get down with that voice. You know, I draw inspiration from older stuff to use because you always need to have like a character in your pocket that's different. Because when you're on a cartoon, you can do, is it 3? I think you do up to 3 characters usually, and they'll be like, "So what do you got? You got this voice, yeah."
Well, that's how. So we've had a couple voice actors on, and we had a gentleman by the name of Christopher Dontrell Piper, who voices Dystro and
Dipso.
Dipso and Dragon Ball Super. And he kind of talked about that too, where like he'll come in initially and he'll maybe lay out 3 or 4 different styles, and they'll go, roll with that one.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. You have to have, you know, a couple of different ways that you can do it, because you have to, and, you know, if you're doing a big character, like I do on Naruto, I do Darui and Killer Bee.
Right.
And they have to be, especially if they're big characters, they have to be in different registers.
Right,
it's not always like I love South Park, but all, you know, how
they all sound the same,
Yeah, but it's great. That's great.
Like they sound different, but you can all tell it's the same.
Yeah. Those dudes are geniuses, man. Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Oh, again, I mean, they just wrapped up season 23, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was just as good as it's always been. It's wild.
They do those shows in a week too, man.
Yeah.
From conception to picture lock is 7 days. It's
they
crazy.
literally, and they do that so they can keep the episode fresh with what's happening.
Right, yeah.
That's just crazy. But yeah, and again, you know, initially we contact you to get you on to talk about Naruto because he knows it's one of my favorite animes of all time, and he just recently pretty much just watched the whole thing.
This is the crazy thing about it, because like Trav just said, like he's been pushing me to watch Shippuden for some time now. And
Shippuden.
Did I say it wrong?
It's Shippuden.
Yeah,
Shippuden.
Yeah,
what did I say? Shippuden?
I don't know, because they're very, you know, when we're recording, they're sticklers for certain pronunciations.
And it's one of those things where, like, in the English world, they want you to pronounce it this way, but the Japanese actually call it Shippuden.
Yeah.
You know? But Funimation does try to, I mean, not Funimation, Viz Media. Viz. They do that. They did it with Death Note too, because Viz also did Death Note, where they pronounce that R like in Ryuk.
It's Ryuk.
But really in Japanese, it's Yuk. Yeah. That's how they say it in Japan. Yeah. So they try to come up with those differences to make it their own or whatever. But yeah, go on.
But like I was saying, like I had just started watching the series, and I had got to the part where they introduced your character where you fought Sasuke, and I was just like, yo, like this dude is badass. Like, I love this guy, man. So it's like I had told Trav, I was just like, man, I'm gonna reach out to him on social media.
Yeah, and I was like, it ain't happening.
Yeah, he was like, it's not gonna happen. And you reached back. I was just like, bro, like I had just finished working out at the gym, and I was just like, bro, he responded back.
Yeah,
like this is cool. Because
you sound like a little girl when you call me.
Nah, I ain't sound like no little girl.
But before we
we'll save that for later.
Yeah, because I really didn't want to. I want to talk about something else before we really got into Naruto.
Yeah, for sure.
And as much as I love anime, I am a huge fan of Adult Swim and their cartoons, and I'm a huge fan of John Glasser. And when I saw that you did an episode of Stroker and Hoop,
an underrated show,
a super underrated show that's kind of a spin on what's the Rebel Car show?
No, it's like
Stroker and Hoop's a spin on that. I just can't remember.
Yeah.
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. Yeah. Okay.
You were the little rapist.
I was a little rapist, and I was also, the umbrella holder.
Yes.
Don't forget about the umbrella.
Don't forget about the umbrella holder.
Just like the craziest, thugged out, crazy dude. Yeah, for sure.
But that's an underrated.
It was a great show, man. I wish it would have gotten a little more
seasons for sure. But did you get to work with John Glasser?
I believe so. Oh, was he? Who did he play? Hold on,
Who? John Glasser? He's Stroker. Yeah. He's the writer of the show.
Oh yeah, that dude was there.
He's the crazy looking.
Yeah. No, he was there. He was there the whole time. He was, I believe, if I'm remembering. This is a minute ago.
No, I'm a huge John Glasser fan. I think he's super underrated. I don't know if you ever seen Delocated.
No, what is that?
It's pretty much.
It's another.
It's a reality. It's a show on Adult Swim. It's their first like live action show that they ever did on Adult Swim, and it was a reality show where him and his family were in the witness protection program, but they get a reality show. But since they're in the witness protection program, they have to do something to still protect their identity. So they wear ski masks, and he got like the voice thing actually permanently put into his throat. So he talks like
what's it called?
It's called Delocated, but it's a super funny show. He writes the show and he stars in it. He was also a writer on Conan for like 10 years before he went to Adult Swim. But I just thought it was so cool that you were in Stroker and Hoop and got to work with him.
Yeah, because it's a show that nobody really talks about anymore.
Wacky. Like there's like a talking car. And it was just the stuff they had me do it, man. Very fun. I've been very fortunate in a lot of the stuff I've done. I've been able to work on some fun projects, and again, another fun project.
Well, another fun project that I was about to bring up was you were in Zombie Strippers.
I was in Zombie Strippers, man.
Like, how was it working with that? I mean, bro, you worked with Robert Englund, man.
Robert Englund,
yeah.
Super nice dude, man. He's very quiet. To me, he's sort of like the Vincent Price of our era, in so much as he is like the horror go-to dude. And there's a rumor, I don't know, that they're gonna do a reboot, and he's coming back as Freddy. From
I've heard rumors of that.
Yeah. But cool dude. I'm really fortunate, really grateful I got to share some screen time with him. But Zombie Strippers, I don't know if you've seen it. It's a crazy.
Oh yeah, I've seen it, but it's crazy, man.
Crazy movie. And it was. I play the leader of the Z Squad, and my name is Camus, and it was based on who's the name of the writer? But it was based on a play called Rhinoceros. Who wrote that?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, but the strip club is called Rhino. The Rhino is sort of. But yeah, wacky, crazy movie. The dude who wrote and directed it, Jay Lee, is a really brilliant filmmaker.
Yeah, just the whole plot of girls,
zombies.
Yeah, girls dying and then coming back, and then dudes are more attracted to them as they're dead. It's zombies.
Right, yeah. It's an absurdist comedy.
Yeah,
that in a strip club with zombies.
And then Jenna Jameson. I mean, she was in the movie too. Like, how was it working with her?
She was cool, man. You know, she didn't really kick it with everybody. She wasn't mean or anything, but she sort of liked to keep to herself. That was her first or second non-adult film that she had ever done, and she was cool.
So let me ask you this: what do you prefer more? Do you prefer doing live action or do you prefer doing voiceover work?
You know, I don't really prefer either. I like live action. Like, there's a show that I recur on coming out February 4th on USA called Briar Patch with Rosario Dawson, Alan Cumming, and Jay Ferguson. Check it out. Comes out next month. I like to do both. You know, here's the thing is that you don't, for me, when you're on camera, it's smaller and it's not as broad. When you're doing a voiceover or cartoons, you get to sometimes do some crazy stuff and crazy over the top characters, and you don't really get to do those as much in on camera. But I love them both. That's like, you know, how you pick your favorite child.
Right, yeah.
You know?
That's why I've always been a fan of cartoons, though, because I just feel like it gives you something that you physically can't do in making TV or movie. Like, you just can't do these things. As it's been proven time and time again when they try and do these live-action animes or whatever, and 9 times out of 10, they do not come out very well.
Right.
These are things...
Well, here's the thing about live-action anime, man. Like, I just watched Alita.
Right.
That was really good.
Really good.
It was really good. I don't know why it didn't do as well. Like,
exactly.
I didn't think it was gonna be that good because it didn't do well in the box office. It was really good.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about her eyes.
But her eyes are big in the manga, though.
I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that like Speed Racer. You know, the Wachowski.
I still haven't seen it.
But it's hard to go to it's hard to translate just because there's it's almost like the uncanny valley when you see people doing things that are crazy as a cartoon. We just accept it, whereas when you look at a real actual physical person doing it, you go, I don't know.
You will watch these Fast and the Furious movies and be like, dude, how? He just got thrown from a car and he got it back up. But if that happens in a cartoon, we don't think nothing of it.
Right, yeah, for sure.
But that's what I've just always felt. I mean, you know, even going back to Looney Tunes, man, Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when he would go off the cliff and he wouldn't fall until he looked down and it's like, oh, I'm falling. That's one of those things. You do the impossible and you really can't translate that well over into the live action unless...
there's sometimes, there've been a couple.
I was about to say, unless you're Disney and you're dumping $350 million in your movie.
I meant, the best anime to the best representation. There've been 2, and they weren't based on anime. Really, the first one is The Matrix. Like, I feel like The Matrix is the film that, for me, most captures what I felt when I saw Akira. Or, movies like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then Kung Fu, is it Kung Fu Hustle?
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle. Oh, man.
That's a classic.
That feels like anime to me. Like, it's because it's over.
It's over the top.
You have to do it well.
And both of those movies and series, the directors have said, we know that there's going to be a sequel to The Matrix. There's going to be a Matrix 4 coming out. And I can't remember the director's name of Kung Fu Hustle.
Steve Chow?
Yes, Steve Chow.
Okay.
He said that he wants to do Kung Fu Hustle 2.
Really?
Yeah, I'm down with it.
No,
I want to see a sequel because the first one was so good, man.
Exactly.
Right.
And have you seen the other movies he's put out since Kung Fu Hustle? He's put out some good movies.
Yeah, Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah, there it is. It's something like that. Yeah. But I don't like. I remember when they put out The Mask, right? And The Mask to me is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Then they, 15 years later, they put out Son of the Mask.
But nobody wanted to see garbage. That, though. But it didn't have Jim Carrey in it.
Right, yeah.
If it would have had Jim Carrey in it.
Okay, then I'll give you this other one. You got Dumb and Dumber. And then, of course, the other sequel they came out with, the
prequel.
Lloyd and Larry, whatever. Who cares about that one? But they really did put out a Dumb and Dumber 2. And it's not that Dumb and Dumber 2 wasn't good, but it can't hold a candle to the first one.
I agree.
Same thing with Super Troopers just recently. The second Super Troopers can't hold a candle to the first one. I feel like when you wait 20 years to finally do the sequel, you've really lost the steam. Kung Fu Hustle came out when I was in middle school, dude.
Right, yeah.
No, and if it was high school, it was like freshman year high school.
I was in the 9th.
So we're still talking about 2001. It is 2020.
Right. No, bro. High school for us would have been
03.
03, 04, yeah.
But still, man, I just feel like sometimes you just got to let a great movie be a great movie. And
I agree, man. I agree. Sometimes, with all the reboots and the remakes, sometimes you got to just leave something where it is and make something that's inspired by it. I think is it.
Yeah, I agree. And going to the Matrix thing, I just watched the Matrix literally like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's still
a good trilogy.
Dude, even the CGI on it, still I'll take that CGI over some of the newer CGI that people do now. It's that good.
That's like Jurassic Park still holds up. That came out like 30 years ago.
It came out in 97, right?
Aliens the same way.
Aliens the same way.
Yeah.
So Catero, what's your favorite Matrix movie?
Oh man, the original.
Yeah,
the Matrix. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For me, it's the second one.
I also like. Have you seen? They did an anime.
Animatrix. The anime.
Animatrix. Yeah,
it's so good.
It is.
Where they get into they do like a prequel.
It's a prequel. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's about the behind the scenes story of how this came to be.
Yeah, they talk about the war between humans and robots and how the sky got covered up. It's really good. I prefer that to the sequels. I didn't love.
I agree. I didn't love the sequels neither.
Yeah, I love the Matrix.
I love the game though.
That's what I was about to say.
The game sequels were really good.
Did y'all ever play? I think it was Path of Neo.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Path of Neo is good, but the actual Matrix 2 video game. What is the second one called? Because the second and the third one.
Reloaded.
Yeah, Reloaded. And what's the third one called? Revelations. Okay.
Yeah.
This Matrix Reloaded video game is so good. So good. That I like the video game more than the movie.
Has it been ported onto PS4?
Unfortunately not. It's the PS2.
Xbox.
Yeah, unfortunately it's just the PS2 movie. And you know how those movie games are. I mean, they're honestly made just to make money off of the movie.
Right, yeah.
You know,
but the Matrix games, the Wachowskis worked on simultaneously as they were making the sequels, and they made it part of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? The story. It wasn't like game developers like, hey, we should make a movie about it. But they're gamers. And they were really into making it. That's why the one with who did Jada Pinkett play?
I can't remember her name,
but yeah, I really loved her in that movie.
Yeah, she was great.
And her look was great. Yeah. I loved, the
little braid thing.
Yeah, the braid bun thing.
The red jacket,
and at that time, a lot of people don't know this about Jada Pinkett Smith. She was in a metal band that was signed to Suburban Noise Records at this time. Yeah, and I was a huge fan of her band at the time. She actually performed here in Virginia at the Lunatic Luau.
Really?
And she's really good. That's the thing about, the Smiths, quote unquote. They're all just it's such a talented family.
Yeah, for sure,
obviously, Jada Pinkett Smith isn't born, a Smith. Like, obviously, she marries Will. But that whole family is just uber talented on anything they do.
Yeah,
and super creative.
By the way, Will Smith's super underrated as a rapper, man.
Bro,
he can handle it.
He's like the Bill Cosby of rap, right? You know what I mean? Like,
don't put that on him. Don't say that.
No. Oh, well, yeah.
But that's what people compare him to.
You know, Bill Cosby, Jerry Seinfeld.
Right. Yeah.
People don't understand how hard it is to do comedy clean. And make it that funny.
Yep.
And I can only name you 2 comics who have ever done it, and it's Bill Cosby and Jerry Seinfeld.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
Clean comics, man.
Who? But I mean to that level of success.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you look at the greatest stand-up comic of all time is Eddie Murphy, and look at his old material. There's not a sentence.
I think Richard Pryor.
But you got a couple of these guys, right? You know what I mean? And Kevin Hart's throwing his name in the mix as
Kevin Hart is amazing.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Chappelle.
There's not a sentence that goes by where they don't say the F word.
The N word.
You know, the N word. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Not that it's a crutch to curse.
Yeah.
But really try and do clean comedy like Jerry Seinfeld and Bill Cosby did, and make it to that. Seinfeld is still the highest grossing sitcom of all time, and it's been dead for like 25 years.
I think, didn't they do a deal with Netflix for like $400 million?
They paid more for Seinfeld than they did for Friends, and everybody's going crazy over them securing the rights to stream Friends. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, but like I was going back to Will Smith, and which. He was quote unquote supposed to be in the Matrix, but he turned down the role as Neo.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
But he kind of did a movie similar just recently to Gemini Man.
I watched that, man.
Underrated, right?
I still haven't seen it.
I didn't hate it.
Dude, it got bad reviews and it didn't do well, but I really enjoyed the movie. So that leads me to what I was about to ask you. When it comes to cinema, what is it that you look for in cinema? Like, you know, Scorsese's gotten a lot of criticism for saying Disney, the Marvel movies are theme parks. They're not real cinema. What is it that you consider cinema, and like what is it that you really enjoy?
Well, here's the thing about that, man. I think that's like an era thing. Like, you know, the way you make movies now is that, first off, like if to go to the movies is $17, man. You know, when Taxi Driver and Mean Streets came out, you go to the movie for $6-7, man.
Yeah, what's the other one?
Taxi Driver, Mean Street, Goodfellas,
Casino. That's what I was thinking. Goodfellas.
So many amazing movies.
I mean, again, he's got Irishman was really good. You know, Irishman
was amazing.
He's a genius.
Classic, man. I watched that twice. It was 3 hours long. I gave 6 hours of my life to the Irishman. But here's the thing: is like, what I think is like today, if you and your 2 kids, your wife, 2 kids go to the movie, that's $60 right there. Plus you got popcorn, you got parking, so you got entertain me, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what the Marvel movies are, and I love Marvel movies. I love,
of course we do,
comic book movies. You know, I loved Aquaman. I love everything from the beginning of the comic book renaissance, which was Blade, you know.
And we're huge on the new Blade remake with the guy from Moonlight.
Mahershala Ali. Man. I'm super excited to see that.
People were crapping on him. And, Wesley Snipes had to come out on Twitter
defend him
and be like, man, y'all better leave my boy alone.
Because I mean, that dude's a great actor.
He's a good actor.
That's what we were saying. Bro, check this dude's resume.
Because Alita,
Moonlight,
what's the Netflix show? Green Book. But even before that, he's in the Hunger Games movies.
He was in Luke Cage.
Oh man, he played Copperhead, right?
Yeah,
Cottonmouth, bro.
Cottonmouth.
They killed his character off so early, but it's because he had other, acting
obligations.
Yeah, but it's like, bro, like so many fans were pissed when they killed his character off, and then replaced him with Diamondback. But there we go.
He had the Biggie poster.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, so good.
Remember that quote? He said, "Everybody want to be king, but don't nobody want to do what it takes to become one."
King, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So great. But he'll be an amazing Blade.
Just like, you know, with the rumors of Idris Elba taking over as James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, who's hating on that? Because he can do it all.
We know who hates.
But I'm just saying, he can do it all. He can go from The Office, and he can go from being, you know, a badass villain, and it's believable on both sides.
Yeah. Let me tell you how I was introduced to Idris Elba watching The Wire.
Right, yes.
It was a couple of years after The Wire came out, and somebody gave me their Blu-ray box set, or you know, what is it? Yeah, Blu-ray box set. And they were like, "You gotta watch this." And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing!"
Right.
And then, so I watched the whole. What do they have? 4 seasons, and then I watched they did a panel where they all sat down afterward, and he was speaking in an English accent, and I was like, why is he doing that fake English accent? He was so good. I didn't even know. I didn't know he was from England. I knew nothing about him. I was just like, and when I heard that, I was like, oh, wow, that dude is amazing. Yeah.
I mean, he's another talented person. I mean, like, just, you know, he still does the DJing. He raps, you know, and he's still acting.
He sings too, man.
Yeah, he sings, so.
Well, and on top of that, if you've ever seen an interview with him, like an actual, like, sit-down conversation with him, you'll be like, dude, this guy's a thinker, you know? He's a very intelligent human being. He thinks about things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to say the first thing I ever saw him in was Daddy's Girls. And
Daddy's Girls.
And like you were saying, it's like you see him in these movies, and then like you hear how he really talks, and you just like, dang, like
he's super British.
Yeah, he's super British. You know what I'm saying?
I knew that dude was from Baltimore or South LA or something, you know.
Well, it's just like when I first seen an interview with Chadwick Boseman, and you know, really the first like big film I saw him in was Black Panther.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him in an interview, and he's just like a regular dude.
Yeah, he's got like, you know, he's like, yo, what's up, man? You know,
I was like, dude, how did he nail that accent so spot? Dude, I mean, he had me hook, line, and sinker. It was so believable.
Dude, James Brown. He did the James
Brown movie, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the new one that he just did, the cop movie.
I did.
21 Bridges. That was really good too.
Really good.
Yeah, I think that was the first movie he produced. It's his production.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but I think it was the first one of his production company.
Well, he's starting to get up there with those guys that can pick and choose what they're gonna like. They don't audition anymore. People come to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's starting to become one of those guys. And I know pretty much this thing has snowballed into us chatting about actors.
That's
and stuff.
what we usually do.
But who is the dude from The Butler?
Which one?
Forrest Whitaker?
Cuba Gooding?
No.
Who was
it The Butler?
What are you talking about, Willis?
I thought the movie was called The Butler.
There was a movie that called, that's Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, that's what I said, Forrest
But
Whitaker.
I'm not thinking about...
Terrence Howard?
I'm not thinking of The Butler. It's a Butler movie.
The Butler movie?
Butler movie.
What's it about?
Everybody's like,
because when you say The Butler, I'm thinking about Forrest Whitaker.
But no, I'm not talking about The Butler with Forrest Whitaker. I know that, you know, he had, I can't even describe this thing, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what she said.
It's, I know it. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? 21 a Slave or whatever.
12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave.
Ejiofor. That's his name, right? From 12 Years a Slave.
I don't know his name. I'm asking you. You know
I know who it is.
You got it right. Chetwal. Whatever
what is it?
His name is.
Yeah, Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think, is how you pronounce it. But he's also in Doctor Strange.
Right, yeah, he's in Doctor Strange.
And he also played Scar in The Lion King.
Yeah, he was in Firefly, too.
Uh-huh.
And a movie that I think is underrated, American Gangster, with Denzel.
Oh, yeah, man.
Also, Four Brothers.
Yup.
Another amazing movie, dude. Four Brothers.
Which movie?
Four Brothers.
Yeah, he played Victor Sweet.
John Singleton movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, rest in peace to John Singleton with Mark Wahlberg and Tyrese.
Andre 3000.
And that brings up something. Going back to Cartoon Network, John Witherspoon's son has a show coming out on Cartoon Network.
What's it called?
It's an animated show about, it's him and a bunch of other rappers. Let me look up what it's called real quick.
Is it Laser Fox?
How great was John Witherspoon on Boondocks, man?
Oh yeah.
Not just Boondocks, but then when he was on Black Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Like John Witherspoon is just one of those guys, man, where it's like everything that he was on, like it was gold.
He's on Black Jesus, right?
Yeah. He's on Black Jesus. Like,
and he was on the Wayans brothers had a TV show.
Oh yeah, we know. We know. We've talked about the Wayans brothers many a times on this podcast.
Yeah. Dude, those are, speaking of smart, creative dudes, those dudes are super underrated because they are like a Hollywood powerhouse, man. Like the Wayans brothers. People don't even know that they have, ever since
I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
I wasn't even going to go back that far. I was going to go back to Scary Movie. But yeah, I'm going to Get You Sucker, or Hollywood Shuffle, where he played, who did he play? Jerry Curl. Have you ever seen Hollywood Shuffle?
I've never seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
You got to see it, man. You got to see it. It's a great movie. But that's sort of where he was discovered.
They put out so many movies, man. Like one of my favorites is... Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
got a problem here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. when he had the missile in the back of the truck.
And remember the man? He had the list of everybody he was trying to take down. He had Mike Tyson up there, Michael Jackson.
I'm telling you right now, the best part of that movie is the cheeseburgers.
With the dude, oh my God.
Having the play on New Jack City.
No, it won't New Jack City.
Are you sure it won't New Jack City?
Come on. Hey, look, bro.
What was it about?
Don't disrespect my movies like that. It was from Menace to Society.
Okay, that's what it was.
Where the dude was just like, I ain't going to say it up here because we're a PG podcast.
But I got
Menace
these cheeseburgers.
My favorite hood movie, man. Like, I like it better than
Don't say it.
What's your favorite? Better than Juice?
I like it, Boys in the Hood.
No, Boys in the Hood is my favorite hood movie, man.
But Menace to Society, it's so good. What's the guy's name?
Yeah,
Lorenz
with
Tate.
the braids. O-Dog.
Lorenz Tate. I'll say that
O-Dog, man.
Menace to Society is a lot more I guess you say a lot more hood. I mean, it's a lot more violent than Boys in the Hood. Like, when Boys in the Hood, because it had that message in it. I mean, you had Lawrence Fishburne in it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Boys in the Hood is the movie that sort of opened the world to that genre. And, at the time, John Singleton was the youngest human, period, of any color to be nominated for a Best Director Academy Award, and the first African American to be nominated for an Academy Award. It's a groundbreaking film. I love Cuba Gooding. It made so many stars.
Oh yeah, I mean the Ricky thing's super iconic.
Yeah. But I still love Menace. I just love Lorenz Tate as O-Dog. What you say about my mama?
Yeah, what you say? I feel sorry for your mother.
And I'm just I'm throwing this out there as my opinion. I mean, and it is what it is. But I think my favorite quote unquote hood movie is probably
Pootie Tang.
No,
he said Pootie Tang.
I'm kidding.
I really have always been such a huge fan of the movie and soundtrack for Above the Rim.
Oh yeah, man!
Above the Rim is so good. The soundtrack is literally just as good as the movie.
Speaking of Marlon Wayans.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is back in the day when soundtracks meant something, right?
When soundtracks meant something.
Because it wasn't just songs just thrown up there. Like, it was artists making songs
for the movie. Yeah, man.
Yeah, all of them were going platinum, man.
Look, I'm telling you, bro.
I was in Tupac's last movie, man. I got to work with Tupac.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't working with him.
I tell you, I was, I think I was like 18 years old. And I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. So they had the table read at Disney in Burbank. So I drive to Disney. I give my ID. I drive on. I go into the conference room, and I look down at the paper. It was Jim Belushi. I knew he was going to be it. And then it said Tupac Shakur. I was like the only young black dude there. T.C. Carson was in it, and Kumo D was in it, but they were older than me. But I was like the Tupac target audience, and that was when he was like, at the pinnacle. He had just gotten out of jail. He had just released All Eyes on Me, and I was like, what? And it was really cool.
I would have been marking out too. I'm working with Tupac.
Yeah. But it was good. 3 days I worked with him. Had a small part. The first day was the table read, and then the first day we shot. I was like, I wasn't signed. I didn't do anything, but I was making music. I was like, I had like my music, and I was gonna play it for Tupac. And I was like, yo. So we worked that day. It was all good. I was like, yo, Tupac. I make music, and I'm gonna play you some of my stuff. And he looked at me, and his face went cold. He said, we straight at death row. And he just walked away from me.
I don't like it. He don't care, bro.
I was like, well, but here's the thing. And then the second day I worked with him, I did my thing, and he was like, he gave me a fist bump. He was like, you a dope dude. It was all good. And then the movie like wrapped a week after that, and I think he got shot maybe a week after we wrapped. And subsequently, I heard a interview he did with the Baker Boys, which were, you know who Big Boy is?
Yes.
He's like a big DJ out here. Before in LA.
I think you was talking about Outkast.
Who?
Oh, no.
No, I know who you're talking about. You talking about Big Boy, like Big Boy who used to be really
radio.
Big Boy.
Yeah. Okay, so before him, there were these dudes called the Baker Boys, and they did one of the last interviews with Tupac, and he was like, "Yo, I want to apologize to anybody who I've been rude to." He's like, "People are out here to get me," and it really affected me, man, because I was a kid then, but looking back, he was just like 25 years old, man. He was scared for his life. And he was like, I'm not, so, but it was really, really, really cool to work with him. He was on set, he was a gracious actor. And, again, another person I'm really grateful to have been able to share screen time with in my career.
And that's a star-studded movie, gang related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, James Earl Jones,
Dennis Quaid,
Gary
Coleman.
Layla Rashawn, a whole bunch of really amazing actors.
So, all right, so let's get to
before we get into the anime. There was one more thing I wanted to bring up. You starred on Training Day, which was a follow-up to the movie that came out.
I did, yeah. I did an episode of that with the mighty Bill Paxton before he passed. Really, again, he may have been, before working with Rosario Dawson, Bill Paxton may have been the nicest person I have ever worked with as like number one on a call sheet. So when you're working, you get a number. You know what I'm saying? So number one is Bill Paxton. Number two is whoever. So he was number one on the call sheet. He's a star. So nice, man. He was like, hey, come sit in my seat. And he was like, telling me stories about his dad and his wood shop. Just a really cool dude. Really, really cool dude. Again, another person I'm very grateful I had the chance
cool
to,
That's cool that you got to, work with these people, man.
And for sure.
It's just one of those things where it's like, that you're in this field, but it's like you never know where it's going to lead you to and like who you're going to work with,
Yeah, for sure.
But now we can go ahead and get into what Travis was about to bring up.
That's right.
And what is that, Travis?
Naruto. Shippuden, right?
Shippuden.
You gotta make sure you say it right. Shippuden. Yeah. So tell us, like, how did you get into that? Like, Were you already watching the series beforehand, or?
No, I didn't know anything about it. So I came into it like halfway into the first season that Killer Bee was on. And I forget which season that was, like 7-8 years ago. And originally there was an actor on it called, his name was Reno Wilson. And he
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He was on, he got a TV show and he couldn't do it anymore. And they had to replace him last minute. And they, you know, you go on the audition. They were like, you know, here's what he did, but you can do whatever you want. And they liked it. And I've been doing it ever since. I can't even remember how many episodes of Naruto I've done. And now Boruto, I've done like six of the movies. 5 video games.
I was about to say video games, all kinds of stuff. But that's the cool thing about getting in these anime franchises like that is you have a chance to become quote unquote iconic.
Iconic, yeah.
I didn't know that he was the original Killer Bee, though, the dude from Mike and Molly.
Mike and Molly,
that must be why he couldn't do the show, because he got the gig out Mike and Molly.
He got Mike and Molly, and he was like, I can't. He just didn't have time. Again, when you're shooting a sitcom, they eat up all your time.
I was about to say, he's not a random dude on the sitcom. He's Mike's best friend, you know, on the Force. He's on there every episode.
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, unfortunately he had to go, but good for me. I get
good
to
for you.
Be Killer Bee, because Killer Bee is such an amazing, crazy, wild character to be able to play, you know, over these years, man. Just some, you know, he's like the curmudgeon uncle who on the show he's not an alcoholic, but I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like he's like that uncle that at Thanksgiving that shows up and falls down on the turkey and raps and tries to sell you something. He's like, yo, what's going on, nephew? Boom, boom, boom.
Well, yeah, because he's the total opposite of his brother, right? You know,
yes.
I mean, his brother is very stern and I'm the leader and all this stuff. Yeah, versus him, he's kind of like, he's super chill.
Just want to have a good time.
And like, don't say ho. He just wants to, you know, rap and teach Naruto how to work that 9 tails.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was what I loved about it, is I sort of get to be the Yoda
of
the series, you know, where I sort of like, okay, here's how you get to like I help him go from a boy to a man and show him how to really master his chakra on the inside, which is really what his 9 tails represents.
Now, like, you know, going back to the, you know, discussion earlier where you were saying that when you get a voice role, you know, you got to do a couple of different voices and whatnot. And when I listen to your voice up there, you know, it always reminds me of Mr. T, like was...
Okay. Now here's, all right, and now that Naruto's over, it's sort of, I based it on, I think it's 1980s cartoon called G.I. Joe.
Okay.
Now, Roadblock.
I know you're talking about.
It sort of sounded like this. It's like, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah. I love those commercials.
Yeah. And then it was like him mixed with Red Fox. So, yo, you know,
I can see
Killer Bee is like in there, But who did you say it sounded like?
Mr. T.
Mr. T. There's a little bit, fool, hey,
you fool, you fool.
Mr. T in there, fool, you fool, well, the fool, you fool was a little bit of Mr. T, and then there's like a little bit of Lil Jon with the and all that stuff, you know. And they were like, just go as crazy as you want, because what they'll do is when you're doing anime, usually, not always, you get the Japanese version.
Right.
And they're like, so here's what he did, but you don't have to do that at all. And for a lot of the characters, they're like, you have to stick to their tone. But for Killer Bee, they were like, go crazy. Especially like the Killer Bee rap. They're like, you can do whatever. I mean, they give you the words, And some of the rhymes they come up with
just trash.
Are just, it's just trash. But that's the whole point. Is like he's not the greatest rapper.
No, he's not even a good rapper. Even in the Japanese version, he's not a good rapper.
But he gives you every drop, man, 100%. He may not be the best rhymer, but he will give you all of his heart to the last drop. Yes, he's passionate.
And that's the one thing that I liked about his character, and what you did with voicing him was it's like how positive he is, and how people they treated him like crap, and they treated him the same way that they treated Naruto and
the Raikage,
and it's like he was just like, nah, it's like, hey, y'all can treat me like crap, I'm just gonna keep on doing me, and like he didn't let them get to him like that. And I'm a very positive person, and I feel like that really reached out to me when I saw the character and whatnot. So I just want to say thank you for that you did a really awesome job voicing him, and making it feel like it's like this is somebody that's right in front of me right now. You know what I'm saying? I know Trav really isn't a fan of the dubs. Like he's more a fan of the sub for Shippuden. But, but yeah, I just want to say thank you for that.
Oh, good. I appreciate it, man. The thing is, when you're doing that, sometimes you're alone in a room and you never know if it will land.
Right.
But, I've gotten a lot of really great feedback from fans and people who really love Killer Bee. And I just, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think to me, when it comes to the dub, Killer Bee and Kakashi, I don't know who voices Kakashi or what, but just such a we'll go back and forth too with like how the difference in some of the Japanese stuff, like for Goku and Dragon Ball Z. I'm not really a fan of the Japanese version of how they do Goku, but I love the American dub of Goku and how he's portrayed. And it's the same with All Might and My Hero Academia. I love the Japanese version of All Might. Is just me and me.
I like both of them.
But the American version, he's so over the top and so
Johnny Bravo, like
so Johnny Bravo, like, and I just love it so much. So you never know which one you're gonna like more when you're watching these.
Yeah.
So did you ever catch yourself doing any Killer Bee raps out in public? You just in the mood?
No way, man. I can't. Here's the thing: is like it's the way the words that they would have rhyme are just so weird that the whole Naruto world is so crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of every episode, they sit you down and they explain what's going on, because it's hard even for me to follow what's going on, and they're like, this time I go, what? And there's a dude with mouths on his back and he does what? And they're like, and then wait, so when I scream, they take my chi and they put it in a jar and they're gonna save it for later to do what? So it's just like so wild of a world. It's really cool to be able to bring that into life. It's not like something that would be like a regular old, cartoon. It's the anime gets crazy.
Cool. So what's next for you? Like, what projects do you have going on coming up? Because I know that you had mentioned the series where Rosario Dawson, Briar Patch. Like, can you explain what's that about? And then also talk about what other projects you have coming up?
Well, that's the only thing. I just did an episode in December of Shameless.
Nice.
I saw that. Is that that's for the new season coming up?
Yeah, that's for the season.
This is the final season, right?
now. No, they're doing one more.
Oh, okay, the next one's
an 11th season. Yeah,
now,
next one's the final season.
What's her name's already gone, right? She already left the show?
Yeah, I forgot her name.
I can't remember her name.
Emily.
The chick from...
Her name's Emily. I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, she left last season, but they're doing this season 10, and they're going to do one more season next year to like wrap up the whole story, because it's going to be the same length. It's based on a British sitcom of the same name, and they did 11 seasons. So I think they're gonna try and honor the 11 seasons that they did in England and do the same sort of wrap up.
How was it like working on? I mean, I know it was only an episode, but what was it like going in there and working with these people who've worked together for so long?
It was really fun, man. The thing is, when you go and you work on a show that's been on that long, it's sort of like a well-oiled machine,
right?
You know, like I've been on pilots where everything is crazy and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah. But whereas working on that show, it's they know what they're doing. Everybody's in the right spot, and you come in and you do your thing, and it's like boom, boom. You get in and you get out. You just try not to mess up your line,
right?
And, you know, make sure you don't look at the wrong spot. You know, yeah. But coming up for me, really, the only thing I have now is Briar Patch, which is airing next month on USA. It premieres February 6th. And Cannon Busters on Netflix. I did, I think, 3 episodes of that. I played Bob.
Yeah.
One of the henchmen.
And Cannon Busters was a great show as soon as we watched it.
Yeah, like
it really, and again, going back to I'm so bad with names. Who wrote it and directed it?
His name is...
Because he's worked on so much stuff.
First off, he's the first African-American LaShawn Thomas.
Yes,
he's the first African-American to have his own anime that he has created that was made within the anime system in Japan. Like, he's over there. He's in Japan working. He's not like a person who's working like in America and trying to mimic what they're doing over there.
Yeah, he went over there and
deeply entrenched in the culture. Yeah.
Well, people don't understand, you know, there's, you know, of course, what's the stigma, right? And now we're getting to a point where being, you know, what do they call it when you're black and nerdy? Blurred. Yeah. You know, it's a little bit more accepted than it was, you know, 20 years ago, where it's like you were square if you were black and like those kind of things. But now we're getting to this point where it's an accepted thing. And this guy's just so talented, man. And the stuff that, you know, he worked on shows like Lizzie McGuire. And like, he's worked on so much stuff on The Sneak. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he put the whole show together, but I'm just saying these are the kind of things that this man can do, and the fact that he came in, he wrote a comic book.
Wrote the comic first,
you know, went over to Japan, and it was like, if I'm going to do this anime, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to get with the right animators and all this stuff. Yeah. And again, look what happened. I mean, it's super successful.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get I think we're going to get a second season.
Oh, no, we're definitely, we're definitely getting a second season.
Especially after how the first one ended. I mean, it ended on that cliffhanger. It's like, you know, after it finished up, like, fans demanded they wanted more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Awesome. So
yeah, so I'm wrapping this thing up. We just want to say thank you for joining us today and coming on and being a guest on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. We appreciate you coming up here.
All good.
And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And before we let you go, tell everybody in social media land where they can find you at.
Catero TV on Instagram. CATERO TV. The letter T, the letter V.
Cool. All right, Catero, again, like I said, thank you for coming up here, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Hey, thanks, man.
All right, peace.
All good.